Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Samanta Alves. I am a volunteer in the Spiritist Center of Ireland, and I'm Brazilian, but I'm currently living in Dublin, Ireland. And today we are going to talk about our purpose in life. But before, I just wanted to make sure everything is okay. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. So if you can just give me a sign to say something, to say if the audio is working and if you can see me well. It seems like it's working. I checked my phone here, but I would love for you guys to give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool, it's working. Now, as I mentioned, we are going to talk about our purpose in life. And this is something that always fascinated me and that I struggled to find an answer for during quite some time. I used to question myself a lot about it, as I felt that I haven't done anything really important or anything that would make a difference in the world, or I wasn't famous, or I didn't run an important business, and so on. So this is the first reason why I decided to research this topic, so I could find an answer for my own life. But the result of my research was so interesting that I thought perhaps it would be a good idea to share my findings with you guys today. But first things first, let's do our initial prayer. So let's close our eyes. If you wish to close your eyes, take a deep breath. Dear Jesus, dear spiritual friends, my mentor, dear God, be with us in this morning. We know you're always with us. For the majority of times, it's us that kind of drive away from you. But in this morning, I would like to ask you for your help for this talk, help for our learnings in our journey through life, help so we can have an open mind and an open ear for everything that you want us to learn. So thank you for being so kind with us all the time. And please, one more time, guide us during this morning. Guide us on our lives. Help us find our purpose and our meaning. And so be it. Okay, so let me show you guys my screen. Cool. So as I mentioned, we are going to talk about our purpose in life, and the agenda for today is we are going to initially talk about what is our purpose in life from a psychologist's point of view. And for this part, I'm referencing the work of Scott Allison, who is a professor of psychology at the University of Richmond and has published many books about heroism and leadership. Then we are going to reflect on what is our purpose in life from the Spiritism point of view. We also are going to talk about how we can find our unique purpose in life. And for this, I'm referencing mainly the Spirit's book and the Gospel According to Spiritism. And lastly, we are going to talk about, I am going to tell you guys a story I learned from a TED talk given by Tom Chi, who has worked in a wide range of roles, from astrophysical researcher to Fortune 500 consultant to corporate executive development. To corporate executive developing new hardware and software products and services. So his current focus is delivering into human development issues with social entrepreneurs around the globe. So it's a very interesting talk. I have all the links at the end, and I will show you guys, and I can share that with you. Just send me a message, and I can send it to you as well. So very nice, very nice references if you want to have a look at it as well. So let's start by trying to understand the definition from dictionary of purpose. So what is purpose? Purpose, according to the dictionary, as a noun, is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. And some synonyms are motive, motivation, cause, reason, point, basis, justification, intention, aim, objective, goal, and so on. It's also a person's sense of resolve and determination, or determination. And as a verb, it is have as one's intention or objective. And the synonyms we can use for this word as a verb is intend, mean, design, have the intention, have in mind, have a mind. So, what is our purpose in life from a psychologist's point of view? Let's just bring some science to our research here. So what is the purpose of life? According to Scott T. Allison, this question is as old as the human race itself. Some argue that our purpose is to find happiness. Others say our purpose is to love others, to become the best version of ourselves, or to follow God's will. Still, others say that there is no purpose to life at all, right? Professor Allison believes that our lives do have a purpose, and that the clues are all around us in plain view. You can't miss them. Our purpose is so deeply embedded in our culture that we easily overlook it or take it for granted, right? So, put simply, according to Professor Allison, your purpose in life is to live the life of a hero. So the hero's journey is captured in all the great stories in literature and in all the great movies we enjoy on the big screen. Hero stories endowed our lives with meaning and reveal how human life is meant to be lived. Hero stories illuminate your true purpose in some ways, as they allow you to, first of all, go on a journey. So at some point during your life, you will journey away from the comforts of your familiar world. So maybe the very fact that you are in a different country from where you're from could even be your journey. In The Wizard of Oz, a tornado sends Dorothy to the land of Oz. In the fault is our stars, something like this, the name of the movie. Cancer sends Hazel to Amsterdam. So the hero's journey can be real or metaphorical. Sometimes heroes choose the journey, and sometimes the journey is chosen for them. So brace yourself. Your life always includes some type of voyage, fraught with discomfort, but crucial in revealing your life purpose. Another aspect of it is grow from adversity. Overcoming obstacles and failures is a central part of our life journey. Children's fairy tales prepare us for adversity by featuring heroes who grow from their setbacks. So the three little pigs, for example, find a way to outsmart the big bad wolf. Bambi or Bambi, overcomes his mother's death to grow into a great leader. Where you stumble, there lies your treasure. So heroes use adversity to better themselves. When you are challenged by the darkest of life circumstances, know that your journey is fashioning you into a wiser, more resilient individual. The third aspect of it is assemble a team of allies. You should never undertake your journey alone. Heroes find a way to attract sidekicks, friends, and mentors to help them overcome obstacles. It is like building a team around you. Often the person who helps you is someone you least expect. Remember that the point of the journey is to transform you into a stronger, better person. Trusted allies will guide you through adversity and will assist you in becoming forever transformed by your journey. And the last point is to give back to society. The hero's journey is far more than once you return from your journey, you use your newfound gifts to make the world a better place. In the movie 12 Years a Slave, the hero Solomon survives his ordeal as a slave and then works to end slavery. So, if we can say, in other words, your life purpose is to use your own personal transformation to help transform society. Your selfless service to the world will forge your place in the human chain of love, shown by people who came before you and by people who will follow you. The hero's journey is not just illustrated in fiction, but in the in real lives of the world's greatest heroes, such as Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and Martin Luther King Jr. So these three legends lived the full truth of heroism, outlined as they all embarked on a journey that forever changed their lives. They suffered greatly at the hands of others. They benefited from a team of allies who made their triumphs possible, and they all used their gifts to forever change the world. You may not be on the life trajectory of a Gandhi or a Mandela, but rest assured, you are on a hero's journey that has momentaneous implications for yourself and for the world. Perhaps you are in the process of overcoming maybe cancer or a difficult childhood, a financial setback, or some major transgression. As you struggle, remember that regardless of the outcome, you are fulfilling your life's purpose. Each human is meant to be or to live a heroic life. So that being said, what is your purpose in life from the spiritism point of view? And I find this really interesting because the more I search or the more I learn about Spiritism, the more I read about it, the more I understand that it has everything to do with science. And you see that I'm mentioning this psychologist and I'm mentioning this TED talk at the end as well that I watched, but it makes a lot of sense and it integrates with Spiritism really, really well. So let's see, how can we understand Spiritism from, purpose from a Spiritism point of view? First of all, understanding the law of progress, right? So let me use some work of Allan Kardec here. The Spiritist book, question 776. The question is, are the state of nature and natural law the same thing? And the answer is, the state of nature represents the infancy of humankind and the departure point for their intellectual and moral development. Being perfectible and containing the seed of their own improvement within themselves, Human beings are not meant to live forever in the state of nature, just as they are not meant to live forever in infancy. The state of nature is transitory, and humans leave it behind through progress and civilization. So the full progress is the goal. People, however, as individual or only step by step, will achieve it. In chapter 6 of the Spiritist book is still question 778. We see, could humankind regress back to the state of nature? No, humankind must progress without ceasing without ceasing, and it cannot return to the state of infancy. It progresses because God has willed it. Believing that it could regress back to its primitive condition would be denying the law of progress. And just to have some reference from the Gospel according to Spiritism as well, chapter 3, item 19, the progression of worlds. Progress is one of the laws of nature. All animate and inanimate beings of creation are submitted to it by the goodness of God, who wills for everything to grow and prosper. Death, which to humans appears to be the end of things, is only a means of reaching a more perfect state through transformation, since everything dies in order to be reborn, and nothing suffers annihilation. So this just shows us that progress is the goal, and it's just one of the laws of God. So as it progresses morally, the spirit becomes dematerialized, that is, purified, by subtracting itself from the influence of matter. His life becomes spiritualized. His faculties and perceptions widen. His happiness becomes proportional to the progress made. When in a world, spirits have realized the sum of progress that the state of this world entails, they leave it to incarnate in another more advanced world, where they acquire new knowledge and so on, until being no longer of any profit to them, the incarnation in material bodies begin to live exclusive from the spiritual life, in which they continue to progress, but in another sense and by other means. So moving on, the other thing that Spiritism shows us is that you create your destiny. You plan your life and events. So you plan your body, what you're going to look like, and your trials. It is more difficult than it seems. So in the book Missionaries of the Light, psychographed by Francisco Xavier, inspired by the Spirit André Luis, a woman who was actively planning her trials for the next life talks about her reasoning. This is what she says. I have been advised by benefactors here that I should avoid re-entering Earth with flawless body lines. If I do avoid it, I might have a better success in the task I'm planning. I would be grateful of the thyroid and the parathyroid glands that were not so perfectly outlined. As you know, my task will be easy. I need to recapture my task will not be easy. I need to recapture a large spiritual heritage. I must avoid any possibility of failure, and perfect physical harmony would get in the way of my goals. So then his friend looked at her, and they looked at each other and said to her, "You're right. Physical seductiveness is a real danger. not only for those who radiate its influence, but also for those who are subject to it. Yes, then she says, I would prefer an attractive body, as I'm not interested in a body like Venus. I'm interested in the redemption of my spirit for eternity. So we determine the complete diagram of our bodies, but we also plan in advance afflictions that could await us. We also plan the trials, the events that push us forward in our exploration of knowledge. To give an example, in the book Memórias de Suicida, I don't think there's a translation of this book, but in English it would be Memories of a Suicidal. Geronimo, who had defrauded his business associates, lost all his money and fled the situation he created by taking his own life. He left behind a wife, a son, and 3 daughters. In Geronimo's plans for the next life, he wouldn't be able to have children because by not looking after his family, by rejecting halfway through the honorable responsibilities of being the head of a household, he acquired a debt. And to help ascend and merit, he would not be granted the chance of building a family and being a father again. To mitigate his behavior towards his life, he would employ all efforts to assist an orphanage children, somehow build shelters for them and become their guardian, as if they were his own. So he would be rich at first, being born in a wealthy family, but he would become financially ruined once again, and he completely withdraw of all his friends' help through this process. He would deeply feel the pull of suicide, but if he wishes to be victorious in his new life, he will have to resist that urge with all his faculties. We don't have the freedom to not participate in our trials. Our freedom lies in our response to events. Therefore, it's better to attract life with an attitude of a child, with an open mind, an acceptance of all that occurs. So we know that this is how we ascend as a spirit. And then going back to the Spirit's book, question 860. We have, can humans, through their own will and efforts, avoid events that were to occur and vice versa? They can, if this apparent deviation fits into the general order of the life that they have chosen. Furthermore, in doing good, their duty and the sole purpose of life, they can prevent evil, especially that which might contribute a still greater evil, or to a still greater evil. So our life is in our hands, and we can improve it and we can make it better by doing good, regardless of anything that happened to us in the past, or regardless of the new trials that we decided to overtake. So again, it's in our hands. Now, how can I find my unique purpose in life? And before going there, let me just check again. Let me just see if we have any question or anything. No, good morning, guys. Send your questions if you have any. I can try and answer the questions, and if I don't have the answer, maybe I can search for it and come back to you. But please send your questions if you have any. Now, how can I find my unique purpose in life according to Spiritism? First of all, self-esteem. So self-esteem is the ability to value oneself, recognize and accept one's own gifts and abilities. This implies the capacity to trust in oneself, to be able to face the challenges of life and to be able to adequately express to oneself and others their own needs and desires. This love, therefore, must be translated into self-effort, self-education, observance of duty, obedience to the laws of accomplishment and work, perseverance, and a sincere desire to learn from Jesus Christ, all of that. So we need to face this new formula of self-love, aware that every good achieved by us for the benefit of our neighbor is nothing but the good of our own soul. It is only when we love ourselves that we can magnify a noble feeling, distributing it to those around ourselves, as well as extending it to other living beings and Mother Nature. So many souls, because of their spiritual immaturity, have been afflicted by materialistic beliefs over the centuries and in the various places where they have lived. They accepted the philosophical doctrines that defend skepticism and which attribute to intimate properties of matter as the cause of origin of life. They are the beliefs of chance, which attribute everything to random events. So if we go to the Spiritist book, question 8, what about the idea that attributes the first formation of all things to an accidental combination of matter, for example, chance? Another absurdity. How could anyone with any common sense believe that chance is an intelligent agent? Moreover, what is chance? Nothing. The harmony that governs the forces of the universe reveals certain set combinations and designs, and thus an intelligent power. To attribute the first formation of things to chance would be nonsense, because chance is blind and cannot produce intelligent results. An intelligent chance would no longer be chance. So, very clear. Depending on our observations, we may consider that the basis of every inferiority complex begins in materialism, that is, in the belief of nothingness. When we believe that everything comes from chance and that nothing exists but what the physical eyes can see, we begin the process of inferiority. From there, we create an unconscious lifestyle based on the fact that we are nothing. And in our depths, we consider to be the momentary product of chance. We ignore the sacred essence that is in us, and we fight against a supposed bad luck, which fatalizes us to waste enormous amount of energy for not recognizing the natural laws that regulate everything and everyone. The materialistic creature must believe that he is a superior, or he is superior to compensate for his belief in the insignificance of existence, or the lack of meaning in which he lives. The spiritual being, sorry, believes that he is neither worse nor better than others, because he perceives and acts with his sense turned to eternity, and knows that each person is as good as they can be according to his evolutionary degree. So the primary and essential providence for us to heal ourselves from the feelings of low esteem or inferiority and conviction in the immortality of souls and in the plurality of existences, coupled with the belief that we are full and complete created spiritual beings, living a human experience to become aware of our innate fullness. The next steps to be taken should be reflections on the causes of our feelings of inferiority, the way they were acquired, and the beliefs that motivated them. It is essential to remember that it is always possible to change or transform our lifestyle. For this, let us not doubt our natural attitudes and vocations, nor systematically question our inner strengths. So then the second thing would be prayer. And chapter 27 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, item 4. Sorry. 27, item 4. The characteristics of prayer are clearly defined by Jesus. When you pray, he states, do not be obvious about it, but pray in secret. Do not feign to pray much, because it's not due to a multiplicity of words that your prayer will be granted, but your sincerity. Before praying, if you have something against someone, forgive that person, because your prayer will not be pleasing to God if it does not come from a heart purified of every sentiment contrary to charity. In short, pray with humility like the publican, and not with pride like the Pharisee. Examine your defects and your good and not your good qualities. And if you compare yourself with others, look for what might be evil in you. So chapter 27 of the Gospel according to Spiritism is entitled Ask and it shall be given. And perhaps, maybe not, a lot of us know how to pray. We are not sure how prayer works, how effective it is, and the behind the scenes of why certain prayers are answered and others are not. So let's consider 3 aspects of prayer. The first one is to acknowledge God. So to acknowledge God is to praise God, to look at all the beauty around us, or even to look inside us and to analyze ourselves. We can even start with our physical body, how beautiful we are, the machine that we have that have certain organs working for us without us telling them directly what to do. We are breathing normally, and we don't have to tell our lungs to breathe. It is important for us to connect with the universe, connect with the God creation, so we can understand this intelligent being, the supreme intelligence that we talk about so much in Spiritism. Then the second aspect of it is to thank for all these amazing things God created, all that we have in life, our family, our friends, and even the material things we have, which is very important to us in our current state. And the third aspect, I would say, is to ask. How much we forget to ask. Sometimes we need something, but we think God knows it and it's enough. However, we actually need to ask for what we need. And more than that, we need to know how to ask for what we really need. We often focus on the lack of things that we have in our prayers. We ask for money, we ask for better jobs, we ask to get a nicer car, a lot of different things which really have nothing at all to do with our progress. And oftentimes we ask for our trials and tribulations to end, but we forgot that it's not the point. Instead, we should focus on what we truly need to acquire so we can be better skilled to face the challenges in our lives and to improve ourselves. For instance, we should ask for courage, for patience, we should ask for resilience, which will help us to accomplish the things that we must accomplish in our lifetime. As we said before, many of the tribulations, the difficulties that we are going through right now, we asked for. So a simplistic way of understanding prayer and how it works is to think of when you throw a small rock into water. It creates a ripple effect. You know, that effect when you drop the rock, the water goes like this, almost like in waves. So with the water being the universal cosmic fluid and the rock being our thoughts, let's imagine that way. If our will is strong enough, we can create this ripple effect, manipulating the universal cosmic fluid, much like the rock manipulates the water. Depending upon the force of our willpower and how pure we are on the inside, how humble we are, and how much good we have done, our desire would be so strong that would force what we ask for to happen. On the other hand, when we ask for some things and it doesn't manifest, a simplistic way to understand it as well would be like this free will, which we can say is linear, and there's the divine will, which is not so linear. So we can choose to do many things in our life, and God allows us free will, but ultimately, it is the will of God that oversees all things that will prevail. Much like a father who doesn't give his child everything he wants because the father knows it's not good for the child. So is our Father in heaven, who doesn't grant us everything we ask for because he knows what's best for us. And then the third thing would be faith. And again, the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 19, item 2. In its proper acceptation, it is certain that confidence in our own abilities renders us capable of accomplishing physical things that we would not be able to do if we doubted ourselves. However, here it is only in the moral sense that these words should be understood. The mountains that faith moves are difficulties, resistance, and ill will. In other words, all the things found among humans, even when it concerns the best of things. Everyday prejudices, material interests, selfishness, the blindness of fanaticism, and prideful passions are other such mountains that bar the way to all who are working for humankind's progress. Robust faith provides the perseverance, strength, and resources that enable us to overcome the obstacles in little as well as in big matters. And then item 3, in another acceptance or acceptation, faith means the confidence one has in accomplishing something, the certainty of achieving a particular purpose. It provides a kind of lucidity that enables one to see the end which is intended and the means to reach it in such a way that the one who possesses it proceeds in a manner of speaking with absolute certainty. In neither case, faith enables the accomplishment of great things. So I think it couldn't be clear enough, or more clear than that. So Jesus reminds us that if we have the true faith, the faith of the size of the mustard seed, we would be able to move mountains. A way of thinking about it would be to think that you can probably not drive your car when it's out of gas. Some way we can't keep moving without faith. So this chapter brings to mind the importance of us remembering ourselves, of our strength, our power, the will, the ability we have to exercise a will, but most importantly, it is to be connected with God and to know that God is in control. God will give us the aid, the ability, the strength that we need to overcome our problems, to move any mountain. Now, the conclusion that I got from my research is that everyone has a purpose. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I will tell you a story that I learned from Tom Chi in this TED Talk that I mentioned. And this story is about breath. Taking a deep breath is one of the simplest ways to connect with our own bodies. A deeply grounded, calming breath. But taking a deep breath was not something that was possible on this earth 3 billion years ago. We had about the same amount of nitrogen, but we had almost no oxygen at all. So you could be taking a breath in vain 3 billion years ago. And we actually had a huge amount of carbon dioxide, and the net effect was an almost inhabitable planet. The only organisms that could exist that time were single-celled organisms inside of what they call stromatolites and other closed spaces. Now, luckily for us, one of those organisms that was alive at this time was something called cyanobacteria. So that's a picture of it. This organism has a special trick that we call photosynthesis, the ability to go take energy from the sun and transform carbon dioxide into oxygen. So I hope I'm saying all those things right. And over the course of billion years, so starting from 2.5 billion years ago, little by little, this bacteria is spread across the planet and converted all that carbon dioxide in the air into the oxygen that we now have. And it was a very slow process, but at the end of this process, finally, could oxygen begins to build up in the atmosphere. So you see, just after about 900 million years ago, oxygen starts to build up in the atmosphere. And about 600 million years ago, something really amazing happened. The ozone layer was formed from the oxygen that has been released in the atmosphere. And it sounds like a small deal, but it actually turns out that before the ozone layer existed, Earth was not really able to sustain complex multicellular life like us. So shortly after the ozone layer came into place, the Earth was able to sustain complex multicellular life. There was a Cambrian explosion of life in the seas, and the first plants got onto land. In fact, there was actually no life on land ahead of that. Like nothing that you are familiar with today could exist without the contributions of these tiny organisms over those billion of years. And where are they now? Well, actually, they never really left us. The direct descendants of the cyanobacteria were eventually captured by plants, and they are now called chloroplasts. So tons of little chloroplasts are still trapped, contributing photosynthesis and making energy for the plants that continue to be the other half of our lungs on Earth. So imagine for a moment, and this is just a thought experiment. Imagine you were one of those little organisms 2 billion years ago. You might be born, you live a couple of weeks, you die. And you kind of feel like, well, nothing really changed. I mean, I had no purpose in this life. Like the world I came to is exactly the same as the world that I left. But what you wouldn't have understood is that every breath that you took contributed to the possibility of countless lives after you. Lives that you would never see. Lives that we are all part of today. And it's worth thinking that maybe the meaning of our lives is actually not even within the scope of our understanding. Because if it's true of every one of these organisms, it may also be true of us. So you matter more than you think. And you certainly have a purpose in this life, you knowing it or not. So that was all from me today. Now, I'll take some questions if there is one. Let me just check here. I can't see any questions or comments. I see a lot of good mornings. So good morning to you all, guys. Thank you so much for being here one more time. I really appreciate it. I hope everything was clear and you could benefit from it somehow. So if there isn't any question, or while you guys write, I just before we finish would like to, as we customarily do, just would like to say that if you need to talk to somebody, or if you need help for any reason, during this uncertain times that we are living, we have the website yourmentalhealth.ie. In the website to find advice on how to mind your mental health during this difficult times. You can text to 086-1800-280. This is a messaging support service. Or you can even visit the website. There are a lot of information there, good information. There's also the Irish Council for Psychotherapy, and the website is psychotherapycouncil.ie. There is the Samaritans, as we always say, the samaritans.org. The cell phone, the telephone is 116123. And there's also this service that was launched by the government a few months ago, the government of Ireland. So you can text 50808 and you can talk to one of their health advisors. So this is the bibliography. I mentioned all the references and the website and all of that. Yeah, Kaka, I'm gonna share the TED Talk. Also, our activities, we have our public meetings in the form of lives for now every Sunday. So it's from 11:15 to around 12:15. This is the one that we are having now. We have our talk shows in the form of lives for now every Tuesday and Thursdays at 7:15 p.m. We have our study groups every Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. And for the study groups, it's not live. So if you want to participate, just send us an email. So you have our email there, spiritismisland@gmail.com. And you can also send us a message on Facebook. So our page is Spiritist Society of Ireland. Just send us a message there, and we can send you the link for the study group. And that is basically it for me today. So I want to thank you guys one more time for everything. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for attending our talks. The Tuesdays and Thursdays talks, they are more well, it's always open. You can always send questions in every talk that we have, but it's a different format where we have people, more than one person, and we talk about a subject between us, and we also use it. We also have your participation as well during this talk. So again, I just want to thank you very much for everything, and I hope you have a very nice day. Wherever in the world you are, and I hope you find comfort in this talk and you can understand better your purpose in life, as much as I really appreciated learning all those things. So again, thank you. Have a great life. Let's just do our final prayer before we go. So if you want to close your eyes, take a deep breath. Dear God, dear Jesus, dear spiritual friends and our mentors, the mentors of our house, thank you very much for being with us this morning, for everything that we learned. Thank you very much for being so kind to us, for being with us every time we need you, for giving us the strength, the ability to overcome our difficult moments. Thank you so much for all the learnings that you share with us. Thank you for all the illumination, the insights that you give us. Thank you for this morning and for this day. Thank you for our lives. Thank you for our bodies, our families, our friends. Thank you for everything that was lended to us so we can live this life. And so be it. So, thank you guys one more time. I'll see you soon. Bye.